Hey everybody, welcome back to another episode of Arsenic and Espresso. I'm Alice Arsenic. This is my co-host Josh, and this is a podcast where we rarely drink coffee, but we always talk about metal music. Anyway, I guess segment 2, news article 2.
Yeah, news article 2. Actually, this bleeds in pretty nicely. Once again, old people in metal going a little off hinge. Corey Taylor. So from Slipknot.
Yes.
I respect him. I'm going to go ahead and say I respect his take on this a whole lot more than Chris's. But his beef with MGK right now,
which is kind of funny. Let's be real. It's funny. It's funny. It's humorous.
Funny.
MGK doesn't know how to make himself famous.
Right.
So he dates really famous women, and he tries to start beef with really famous men.
Right. No, and I would counterpoint and say that's exactly how to get famous. He knows
exactly what he's doing.
But I just have zero respect for it. So, and I feel like that's a huge sentiment in the community. Either you love MGK's music and so you fangirl over him, or you realize that it is cookie cutter pop punk. You might jam out to it, but like when it's on the radio or whatever, but you don't have respect for the person who he is because he just kind of showed up onto the scene and said
talking trash from the beginning. Shit. So it's like, why would anyone want to listen to you, sir, if all you're gonna do is talk smack and talk trash about your predecessors? I mean, when he first started on the scene, he was like, I'm a rapper, but also absolutely Eminem can go fuck himself. And you're just like,
okay.
What?
Yes.
What?
And so what's funny though, I saw it was a clip of Corey Taylor. They were on it was a metal cruise. And so
that sounds delightful.
Right, and actually kind of does. I don't know though. It depends on the fans that are there.
It depends on the fans, and it depends on how far in the ocean you are.
True. But he was taking questions after a set. And they asked him about, what's new with MGK or whatever. And so he kind of recapped it and everything. But how it all kind of started was that MGK was making fun of the shoes that metal musicians wore, that they wore comfy shoes and that they should be acting like rock stars and wearing tall boots and crazy shoes.
You know what it makes me think of though is that Nickelback song Rockstar.
Yeah,
that's his idea of a rock star,
right? Which is fine. Like if that's what he wants to be, that's fine, but I guess
we're not all Gene Simmons, okay?
Right. Well, and like
we can't all wear platforms every day.
And it kind of ignores the transition from hair metal and to thrash and to grunge and then into the new metal scene, which is what Corey Taylor is. He is like one of the faces, one of the Mount Rushmore faces of new metal, right?
Yeah.
Was this transition that kind of rejected the whole hair metal phase, right?
The glamorousness of
it all.
Yeah.
And then, there are a lot of new metal. Well, but then it's even funny too, though, because like they're the people wearing masks, right? So like they are rock stars, right? They're doing like some crazy stuff. They're dressing kind of crazy. Yeah. Maybe they want to wear comfy shoes, but they're dressing kind of crazy. And then that was what MGK decided to talk smack about them to at the whatever fest they were at, as well as that they were wearing masks. So I think he's just all over the place, but I think it's just
that's their whole shtick.
Right.
The masks were a thing. They did that before. Like that was so unheard of, if you will.
Yeah.
Like when Slipknot came to the scene. Okay, again, you're new here. Grew up Southern Baptist. My entire church went into like emotional shock when Slipknot hit the scene. And I remember when there were kids in the youth group listening to them. I mean,
or like wearing the shirts, right? Oh, it was you
had
to pray for them on the way in and the way out,
Well, you might as well have had a human sacrifice to Baphomet in the church. Like people were freaking out because they had never seen anything like this. And a lot of, it's funny, speaking of Gene Simmons, a lot of the older people in the church I grew up in, they would always say stuff like, well, I do like that heavy stuff. Like we listen to Kiss, like we grew up listening to Kiss, blah, 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 all this stuff. And you're like, okay, it is no different than what Gene Simmons did.
Right. Black
at
Sabbath,
the time.
Like all of them. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
It is no different than what Ozzy Osbourne did at the time.
But it was new and it was fresh. So people feared it.
And so people freaked out.
Yep.
Slipknot made a name for themselves that went beyond people who listen to metal music.
Right.
When I say they became a household name, people who I never who were like, oh no, I don't listen to metal music. Oh, but I listen to Slipknot.
Right. You know who they are. Yeah.
You know who they are.
Well, and so that's where
I just think MGK is a baby. I just think he's a total baby.
I think that there's a lot of truth to that. I feel like his moves in the music industry are very calculated.
Oh yeah.
And
well, and I think his trash talk is intentional.
Oh, for sure.
He does it for the negative press because any press is good press.
Yep. Absolutely. He was never bigger until he made the diss song on Eminem, right? Mm-hmm. And then he wasn't. I mean, he was big in pop punk already, but then when he dissed Corey Taylor, now he has diehard fans in pop punk, right?
Stans.
Now he has his own stance.
Yeah.
And so yeah, I just kind of think it's lousy. Him and Travis Barker make some incredible pop punk sounds. But actually, on that note, did you hear the latest song that they put out?
The one with Willow Smith?
Yeah.
So I want to start off by saying I think Willow Smith is a fantastic artist.
Mm-hmm.
I think the work that they have done to separate themselves from Will Smith and Jada, to establish themselves as an artist outside of their family has been very successful.
Right.
It is not the type of music I listen to, but I do think they are a fantastic artist.
Especially on pop punk sound, I would say.
I agree. I agree completely.
That voice makes sense.
When this song came across my Twitter, I was a little bit excited. I was like, I do really like Willow. Yeah. MGK has been on a couple things that I enjoy. I don't listen to MGK
on the regular
at all. But if there's a song that, I mean, our kid listens to him. Like our 9-year-old has him on his playlist, you know? So it's like if that playlist is on and one of MGK's songs come on, I'm not like, oh my God, turn it off. So I was a bit excited. So I clicked on the video. I cannot lie. I got about 4 or 5 seconds in and I was
really?
I'm out.
I didn't watch the video. I just heard the song.
I did not listen to the whole song.
Yeah.
Okay. I did not. I was like, I don't have this in me today.
Fair. For me, that song sounded exactly like everything that he put on his last album. And yes, I get like it's Blink-182, right? Like they put out multiple albums, you know, they all had some basic, you know, resemblance.
Any song could have been off of
any
of the
it could have
albums.
been off of any of them. But to me, I felt like it was the exact same song as something that he had put out before. It had Willow's voice on it instead.
Okay, who's the feature on this song? Is Willow the feature or is MGK the feature?
I think Willow's the feature on this one.
Okay. So I can't find the tweet exactly, but someone tweeted out that MGK cannot make music on his own and that he relies on the features.
Okay.
Pretty much. So, I mean, he's done...
Well, the fact that Travis Barker has written like all of the music to all of it, right?
It's kind of weird they're hanging out. I'm just gonna put that out there. That's a little weird. That's a little weird. But then that delves into the whole pop culture aspect of also who they're both dating.
That's always a thing.
Strangeness. I feel so like I said, I didn't listen to the song. I can't lie. I got about 4 seconds in and I turned it off and I was just like, not my vibe. I think that MGK is trying really, really hard to be someone that people talk about.
Yeah.
Willow Smith has fans that will support them regardless of what they're doing.
Right.
Like super fans.
Yeah.
And I think MGK might have taken advantage of a super fan base, knowing if he brought Willow onto a song, the kind of
that's what he's aiming for is the Gen Z sort of. I mean, that's who Willow's fan base are, right? Is that Gen Z base, anyways, and that's what he's writing for, right? He's writing songs about being stuck in a locker or whatever, right? Like he's writing.
How old is MGK?
He's like 30 something, 32, something like that. He's about our age. But yeah, he's still writing, you know, love songs about high school.
He's 31. Oh, sir. Sure.
And so like that's
Oops.
another problem that I have with him. I also think that if Travis Barker is going to be a part of like the songwriting and not lyric writing, I honestly think it probably is all MGK that's doing the lyrics. It could be, could not be. I don't know. I don't really care. But musically, right? Travis Barker is a huge part of the songwriting musically. And I think that they should they should have formed a band, right?
Right. An actual band.
I thought it was good. It was really cool that he was going to help him with the first album. And then now that I see that like it's basically the same thing, but a second album, kind of feel like he's getting the shaft, right? Yikes. So anyways, that's my 2 cents on him.
No shade. No shade. What did you think about the song? It's
fine.
called Emo Girl?
Yeah, I thought it was fine. But I thought that he's reaching to a young generation when he's not young. And you know, which is whatever, like, you know, musicians do that. They got to market themselves. But I thought that it was cookie cutter from I don't know what song it is, but I feel like it's a copy paste of a different song.
Let me hold on. Let me listen to another.
Okay.
Let me just.
Like it kind of sucks. I'm not gonna lie, it kind of sucks.
It could be off any mid 2000s album that was inspired by All American Rejects, Blink-182, Plain White T's.
To be honest, I feel like it would be on what the heck is that movie? Scotty Doesn't Know. That Eurotrip?
Eurotrip.
Is that Eurotrip? Road Trip or Eurotrip? One of the two. But I feel like the satirical band from a
Eurotrip
sex comedy is what MGK writes like.
Yes.
And like, okay, cool, man.
But then also just like market yourself as that.
Right.
Like just lean into it. Just lean into it and like, I don't know.
He's just a big goofball. Like, well, I don't know. Like
the fact that he is constantly. I know we talked about Eminem. I know we talked about Corey Taylor, but he is constantly MGK rather is constantly belittling, insulting, and just generally making fun of people in the scene. Yeah. Whether it is fans.
Well, and
whether it is other musicians.
And I think the interesting thing, though, is like he made it in both scenes. Like he was a successful rapper before he went after Eminem. Like he wasn't on Eminem's level, right? But like he was a successful rapper. Like he made millions of dollars. People knew who he was. And then same thing in punk, right? Like he made millions of dollars. People knew who he was, but then he still felt the need to like come after people for clout. And that's just like, I don't know. That's just not the scene. Like,
I think there's a way better way to get attention. I think if you are an actual talented individual, your talent can shine through without you being insulting. I think he's dramatic. I think he acts very childish. And I don't know, maybe that's why he markets his music to children, because he himself is a child.
I think you're onto something there.
I might be.
I think you're onto something there.
I took a few psychology classes in college.
Emotional damage.
I don't think that fits there.
No? He has emotional damage, like trauma. That's why he still acts like a kid.
Oh.
That's what I was going for.
Maybe.
I guess I had to
pity the child. We don't pity the adult.
Fact.
Adults have access to therapy.
Especially adults with money.
Especially adults who make multiple millions of dollars. There's no excuse. It's the same thing as there is no excuse for these celebrities to have such bad tattoos.
True.
We should do a whole thing about celebrities or like metalheads' bad tattoos. We'll save that for another night, but we're going to compare notes, and I'm going to show you all the scratcher tattoos.
Well, those are fans too, though. But I want to. We will go through band photos and rate their tattoos.
Anyway, next news segment. We talked about MGK for a really long time. You should cut it down.
I will cut that down. We gave him way too much credit. Way too much time.